Okay.
Today on the Surviving the Human Experience podcast, we are here with a returning guest, Phil George. For those who missed our previous episodes with Phil, please be sure to check out the archives as he has provided a wealth of information on brain health. We've talked about mitochondria, science of dating and mating, and so much more. So I'm excited to bring Phil back on today. We're going to talk about a topic that we are both very passionate about, which is water. Before we dive in, I'd like to share a little bit more about Phil for those who may be hearing from him for the first time. Phil is a clinical biochemist, certified personal trainer, health coach, speaker, and lecturer. He has his own radio show out of Massachusetts on Wellness Wave Radio and has had the pleasure of conducting seminars focused on health and wellness throughout New England. He has formed a health coalition group with like minded health practitioners to share information and collectively work together for the betterment of his clients. So, Phil, welcome back.
Yeah, we always have a lot of fun, Kristen. Oh,
We
don't
do.
forget, I'm on Dream Vision 7 too.
Oh, yes, on Dream Vision 7. So if you guys haven't checked him out, listen to his podcast. He has a wealth of information he's sharing weekly with our listeners. So make sure you check him out there. Glad. Thank you. Good catch. Good catch, Phil.
And
All right.
also, any
Yes.
if anybody can email me, philgeorge@charter.net, and I'll answer your questions and that kind of stuff. So feel free. Anything that piques your interest here, feel free to email me.
Perfect. And folks, he does answer those emails because I send them all the time. So thank you for sharing your time with us today. It's always a pleasure to have you on the show. You always bring your A game to the discussion. Wealth of knowledge, of course, for all of our listeners. But today we're going to explore water because it's a really hot topic. So I like to say we're going to talk about water in all of its glory. I want people to have some awareness of water. I want to talk about when we grab that glass of water, take a shower, go for a swim, wash our clothes, that we need to be considering the quality of our water, what we're being exposed to, whether it's ingesting it, having it touch our skin, just coming in contact with it. So let's do it. I want you to set the stage to really help our listeners understand why it's important to be aware of water. We're going to start with the basics. So, how much of our body is comprised or composed of water, Phil?
Between 60 and 70%.
Hmm.
But
So
I
far,
get an interesting factoid for you that most people don't know. This
please
is
give it
really
to us.
this is going to blow your mind, Kristen. So we have obviously a water is made of H2O. It's basically it's a molecule, and we have molecules. We have proteins, we have fats, we have lipids all over the place.
Mhm.
Did you know that 99% of the molecules in our body are water?
Mm, that's huge.
99%. That's so water interacts literally with every single molecule in our body all the time. That's how important water is. So most people don't know that it's the most ubiquitous molecule in our body. It interacts with everything. That's how important water is.
So that's huge. That led me into my next question. And I was going to ask you, so if our body is 60 to 70% water, and now you're sharing that 99%, it's a kind of a serious issue. Why is the quality of that water that enters our body so important?
Because it's responsible. Again, I'm a biochemist, so what I'm looking at is what's called mechanism of action. So
Hmm.
what happens, and things have to happen. So water molecules are involved with every single biochemical reaction in our body. So you have to have quality water. So I'm going to jump ahead a little bit. So
Hmm.
what happens? Most people have heard of the mitochondria, the powerhouse of the cell. Okay.
Hmm.
So what happens, and most people know, there's something called the electron transport chain, and
Yes.
what happens at the very end, it kicks out ATP, which gives us energy. Okay,
Hmm.
but a lot of people don't realize also you have hydrogen atoms, and you also have electrons, and those goes together. And at the end, so your mitochondria take that and they mix it into what they call biological water,
Hmm.
which is pure water. So again, I'm going to jump all over the place, Kristen. So the other
That's
thing
fine.
is, you ready? Okay. See if I can trick you. Can I trick you?
You
Okay.
you
So
probably will.
okay, how many Now, put your thinking cap on, Kristen.
Mhm.
So how many forms of water are there?
Oh boy. Well, there's quite a few, I can imagine. I mean, I'm just thinking about tap water. I'm talking about
No, no,
distilled
no, not
waters.
not not that. What? Let me rephrase it. What states does water exist in?
I'm going to give this one over to you. This is an
Okay.
Alex Trebek type of
No,
question,
no, no.
Phil.
Okay. So obviously it's liquid,
Hmm.
right? It's
Yes.
frozen, right? So
Yes.
it's liquid, it's frozen, and it's gaseous.
Yes.
So if you ask 99 people out of 100, they're going to answer that question, okay? Because
Hmm.
they had that. Do you know, Kristen? There's a fourth phase of water.
Okay.
It's called structured water or exclusion zone water. Okay. Now
Got it.
imagine that. That's basically like a gel. Okay. So what happens is the University of Washington, Gerald Pollack, he's a physical chemist. He discovered this. So let me again put your thinking cap back on. So you imagine you get a tall oak tree, right?
Hmm.
And the water has to go up from the bottom of the tree up to the tree. How does it get up to the tree? How does it get all the way up there?
It's going through the roots.
Roots, but how does it get up there? What happens, what they found, Kristen, is this
Hmm.
exclusion zone water. It's not
Hmm.
H2O, it's H3O2. It forms
Oh,
a crystalline lattice. Okay. It kind of goes together. It's almost like a
okay.
gel. Okay.
Hmm.
So this is the fourth phase of water. In fact, he wrote a book, and the book is called The Fourth Phase of Water. Okay.
Okay.
It's either called exclusion zone or it's called structured water because it's structured. The reason
Okay.
exclusion zone, when it gets together like a crystal, you can't get any toxins in there. Okay, it's pure water. And what
Hmm.
happens is, if you put a straw inside of the structured water, the water will go up the straw on its own.
Wow.
Okay, magic. That's what
Wow.
happens. That's Kristen. That's what happens with trees. It goes up. So what they found out, Kristen, is
Hmm.
there's another book. It's called "The Heart Is Not a Pump."
Okay.
They have pneumatic engineers, people that study, structure of liquids, and
Hmm.
they said it's impossible for the heart to exert enough energy to pump blood all over the body. It's impossible. It can't be done. So the book is called "The Heart Is Not a Pump." So what
I
they
always have to
found.
take so many notes when you talk, Phil, because I'm like, oh, now I need this book and this book. My Audible account is getting a workout here.
So, Kristen, they found out, you have your arteries, you have the capillaries, and the little
Yes.
ones, and they're very tiny. In your capillaries, only one red blood cell can get through at a time. That's how
Hmm.
small they are. So, what they found is the way it's done, this exclusion zone water allows it to pass through it. What it
Okay.
does is it allows it to put through it. So what happens, Kristen, is that they found out remember the mitochondria at the very end, it produces water.
Hmm.
It's producing this called metabolic water or structured water.
Okay.
So that's what you need. I'm going to jump again to something called deuterium. Okay,
Hmm.
deuterium is what they call. Imagine again with hydrogen. So a water, you have a hydrogen atom and you have an electron going around it. Two hydrogens, one electron.
Hmm.
About I think it's 1,400 parts per billion with the B is
Okay.
deuterium, a heavy water. So instead of having the hydrogen, you also have uh, a, uh, a neutron in there, basically, so it makes it's twice as heavy.
Okay.
It's twice as heavy. It's called heavy water because it's got deuterium in it. Okay,
Hmm.
so what happens with that is, imagine this heavy water running around, bumping into all of your different molecules and stuff like that. It's
Hmm.
doing a job on you. So what they're finding is they think a lot of cancers and stuff are caused by this deuterium. So what's happening, the heavy water, and that's another problem. So there's all different types of water. You got heavy water, you've got this exclusion zone water, and you got your regular water. So I think we
Okay.
kind of went off on a big, This is called basically quantum biology. This is the next phase now in terms of terms of medicine. This is what they're finding. So water is so important. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So what they found is, now imagine when you see a stream or or brook, right? The water's going all over the place like this. So what it's doing when it's going through the water, it's forming this exclusion zone water, Kristen.
Okay.
So it's forming that type of water.
Mm-hmm.
So what I should have it in the background here. I could show it to you. So I have this special vase. It's kind of round at the bottom, and it's at the top, and it
Uh-huh.
has a magnet at the bottom, and the magnet spins around really fast, Kristen. And
Okay.
you know what a tornado looks like, right?
Yes.
It's a tornado in the middle of the water, and it spins
Okay.
around really fast. I think it's called Gaia. They sell it anyway. You can get
Okay.
it, and it spins around. So what I do is I put this. I mentioned to you, I got this deuterium depleted water. Okay, and I put it in this vase,
Mm-hmm.
and I put it in there, and it spins around like a tornado in the middle of it.
Mm-hmm.
So not only am I getting the deuterium depleted water, I'm also getting the structured water, the exclusion zone water at the same time, Kristen.
Okay.
So when I drink it now, I take it out. I'm getting the deuterium depleted water. I don't have any. I don't have any. It's only, remember, the normal is 144 parts per billion.
Mm-hmm.
This deuterium is only 10 parts per billion, so it's really low. Okay, so
Okay.
I'm drinking that. So I'm getting the structured water, and I'm also getting at the same time. Okay, so that's what I'm doing. We talked before
Okay.
about stacking. So this is
Yes.
what I'm doing.
Yes.
Also, we talked before, all the water I get is from springs, from natural springs.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm also getting my natural spring water with that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we talked before, I think I mentioned to you last time, what I do is near infrared light. I'm putting near infrared light on top of my spring water, and that also forms structured water. They found out the near infrared light, what it does is instead of going from the H2O, it goes to H3O2, and it
Mm-hmm.
forms structured water. So what happens, Kristen, your body, in order to run to do correctly, to go to your mitochondria and to form this exclusion zone water or structured water, it has to
Mm-hmm.
use energy to do that. Okay. So it's taking energy out of your body to make it.
Okay.
So instead of forcing my body to make the exclusion zone water or the structured water, I'm making
Mm-hmm.
it ahead of time. So I'm saving my energy for other things. So
Yes.
that's so Kristen, I'm the Energizer Bunny.
I love that. We definitely are always looking for ways when Phil and I talk to maximize our energy because we're both so high energy. So this is a wonderful biohack to do on your body to save those reserves to go to something else.
Right. So the viewers, listeners, you don't have to. This deuterium is expensive, so I don't expect most people to be able to do it. We mentioned my health is important to me. I'd rather spend the money on it. And I noticed I mentioned before, and this may be too much information, but at my age, most guys my age, we have prostate issues, and I noticed I get up maybe 3 or 4 times during the night and go to the bathroom
Okay.
because of the prostate. And I didn't expect this to happen, but since I'm doing the deuterium depleted water, I'm getting up once or twice a night. And I didn't expect that to happen. But remember, with
Wow.
that, with the heavy hydrogen, with the heavy
Hmm.
water, it's probably bouncing around on my prostate, and maybe it was
Hmm.
causing damage I didn't even know about. So this is an
Right.
unintended positive side effect that I had. I also
Yes.
found I'm sleeping better because I have my Aura ring, and it measures
Hmm.
all my sleep. So
Hmm.
and so I have a quantitative and a qualitative measure because I'm a biohacker. I measure everything. So I
Yes.
found I found that. But if you don't want to spend the money on the deuterium and you want to just do that, you can email me, philgeorge@charter.net. You can get these red light panels. I mentioned to you, I'm just putting it over my water,
Yep.
and I'm changing it into structured water, so my
Hmm.
body doesn't have to use the energy. In order to make the structured water, it has to go through all of your mitochondria,
Hmm.
the powerhouse of the cell.
Hmm.
And the big thing now they're talking about, Kristen, in terms of health, is what they call mitochondrial dysfunction. Your
Hmm.
mitochondria just isn't working correctly.
Right.
So you have the most mitochondria are in your heart and in your brain. Okay, the most is in your heart because it's pumping all the time. The second is your brain. So you
Mhm.
get the brain fog and stuff like that. It's related to mitochondrial dysfunction.
Mm.
If your mitochondria are not working correctly, then nothing's working correctly. And this goes back to water. Your water is so important. The mitochondria is making this biological water at the last part. And if it
Mhm.
can't make enough of it, because your mitochondria is not working, you're taking a statin. Okay, statins make up the mitochondria, mess up the mitochondria, messes up the CoQ10. You can't make the energy at the end. So it's a whole systemic effect to where it just isn't working correctly.
Yeah, and as you're explaining that, I'm just thinking the body's short circuiting everywhere, right? It's got all these structures in place, but if you have all these interrupted things happening, then the best of whatever you're doing still isn't getting where it needs to go because the message is never sent. It's like hitting send on the email, message never got there. Wow. Oh my goodness, that was so much information. All right. So, Phil, I'm going to ask you a loaded question now. What's the biggest threat or challenge that's facing our water supply today?
Uh, well, a few of them. One of them obviously is chlorine. Okay, chlorine's a big. They put chlorine in water,
Hmm.
and they put chlorine in swimming pools, right?
Yes.
So, Kristen, why do they put chlorine in swimming pools?
They are trying to kill everything. You've got kids in there doing God knows what.
Killing the
Use-
bac, killing the bacteria, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. What
Hmm.
do you have inside of your gut, Kristen?
You've got different bacterias, whole bunch of them.
Okay,
That
and
microbiome starts popping
yeah,
up.
the microbiome. And to quote Hippocrates, all disease begins in the gut. So if you're drinking chlorinated water, you're basically killing your bacteria in your gut. Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
what happens is that the other thing that they found, Kristen, is the chlorine and the filtering process in tap water. They don't kill everything. Okay.
Hmm.
So what happens is going back going on, let me see, I had written this down. Oh, I remember. Okay. So going back to I think I wrote down the exact amount. See if I can find it. I gave you, I looked this up. Maybe I
And while
didn't.
you're looking that up, I think this is really important for our listeners to pay attention to because I can attest to the fact that having that conversation and having my tap water tested, the first two things that popped up were chlorine and fluoride. And that was after the water treatment plants had done their part of the process. And so, for those who haven't, it is worthwhile. And I'm sure Phil is going to say it later in this episode. Make sure you have your water tested to see what you're dealing with, especially if you're a person who isn't filtering your water and you're drinking it straight out of the tap.
Right. So going back to when I worked in the lab,
Hmm.
when the dinosaurs ruled the earth, Kristen, I had to fight the dinosaurs to get it to work. So
Jurassic Park.
So right now, a chimpanzee could do my job back then, but back then everything was by hand. Kristen, it
Yes.
goes this goes so far back. There were no fax machines when I was in the lab. That's how far
My
back. No
goodness.
computers or nothing. So everything was
Wow.
by hand. Everything was by hand. Okay.
You actually had to learn the information. You didn't just Google it, huh?
No, when I in fact when I took one of my when I took my first one of the first calculus courses at WPI, there was no calculators. I remember buying my first calculator. It was $99, and that's when $99 actually meant
Wow.
something. And it was
Yes.
a Texas Instrument 1000, and that could
Hmm.
actually now you can do it on anything. But anyway,
Yes.
so when what happened is when people would come in, my job as a clinical biochemist was to consult with physicians to figure out, and I trained doctors on clinical procedures. How to figure out the pathology. I come in,
Mhm.
they would give me something. So what would happen is they would come in and a person would have, let's say, a really upset stomach. Okay,
Mhm.
so one of the things was I would go in and they would people have this thing called the CBC, complete blood count.
Mhm.
So I would go in there and I would look and I get the slide, put up a slide. You'd have you have your red cells on there, you'd have your white cells. Well, I also would count the different white cells. So one of the white cells, it's called an eosinophil. And what an
Okay.
eosinophil is, It's very few. There's only 1 to 2 per 100 in 100 cells, and I
Okay.
could see them. And it's a beautiful cell, Kristen. It's bright orange with all these granules in it. Beautiful
Hmm.
cell. The only 2 times you can have elevated eosinophils is number one if you get an allergy because it fights like allergies. Other one if you have a parasite.
Okay.
So if I see a lot of eosinophils, I say, whoa, it's either an allergy or it's a parasite. So then what would happen? I would say to the physician, okay, why don't you get me a stool sample? Okay. We get a
Okay.
stool sample. We put the stool sample. I did some gross stuff, Kristen. So I get
It it has to be done though. It's science.
we get the stool sample. We put it in a blender and mush it up,
Mhm.
and we take it out and we put a we and we put a smear on
A
it.
smear.
And I look and because if you could have a tapeworm in there, right? You could have anything
Right. Right.
in the stool. So I gotta
Mhm.
my job was to identify what kind of parasite it is, what drug you have to give this parasite
Mhm.
to get rid of it. So I
Right.
look at it, and there's a very specific parasite. It's called the Gardia lambdia.
Okay.
And I look at, you know what it looks like under a microscope? It looks like a witch doctor face. Very
Wow.
distinct look to it.
Okay.
And do you know where you get Gardia lambdia from, Kristen? Tap
No.
water. Tap
Really?
water. Chloride does not kill Gardia lambdia.
Wow.
So Kristen, you are playing Russian roulette with your tap water. You don't know if you next time you drink that glass of water if it has Gardia lambda in it. I did look it up. What percentage? I didn't write it down. What percentage of people get it each year? Now
Hmm.
you can also get it by going into a pond and drinking out of pond water, which I don't recommend, or lake. I mean, it's
Right.
there,
Right.
but most people get it. Most if you haven't been out, and drinking pond water or tap, but you're drinking
Hmm.
tap water. Most people get it from tap water. So guys, you're playing Russian roulette when you're drinking tap water. Okay,
Wow.
because the chlorine does not kill the Guardia lambda. It's resistant to the chlorine in the water.
So I'm going to need people to close their mouth when they take a shower. So even if you are not drinking the water straight out of the faucet, it's just as I guess I'm sure it's happened before where somebody's been in the shower, you're getting that water in your mouth. So yeah, ooh, wow, Phil.
But the other thing, Kristen, they found out, I think it also doesn't take out birth control stuff in there either.
Okay.
So you could be inadvertently, there's certain things it just doesn't filter out.
Wow.
Over here in Worcester, every once in a while, look in a month, we'll get a thing from the water department saying, "Oh, by the way, a month ago, we didn't filter this particular things out of the water because our
Mm-hmm.
water." We had sometimes people over there, they're dumping chemicals in there. Maybe they dump too many chemicals. Maybe they dump enough chemicals. You don't know. You don't know.
Right.
They're filtering this stuff out. And maybe the person that's doing it maybe had one too many beers that morning or that afternoon. And maybe you don't know.
Yes.
You
You
can't
have no
control.
idea.
You can't control that stuff, Kristen.
You can't. And I've heard one too many people that I've come across say, "Oh yeah, I dumped my prescription down the toilet and I flushed it." That's something that happens too. So now you've got all of these different medications in the water supply. And if that's not being filtered out, yeah, that's a huge problem. Wow. Oh, Phil, you're telling us the most, one of the most precious commodities we have in our body is water. And the most
99% molecules. But the other thing you want to talk too, if we just had Massachusetts, they just turned it around. In fact, this woman was on my show several times,
Mhm.
the fluoride debate, and finally got it overturned. And this whole thing, it lowers kids' IQ and things like that. It does
Uh-huh.
it does all kinds of nasty stuff. A lot of people don't know the history of fluoride, but it's a waste product from aluminum. When they make aluminum, it's a waste product. So what can we do with all this waste product? We can put it in your water.
Mm.
So they finally they did it. They took it out a lot of out a lot of the water supply now because
Mhm.
they know it lowers kids IQ.
Mhm.
It does a bunch of stuff. So it's the fluoride in the water is not. I'm not saying it's not necessarily good for you if they just put it on your teeth. You know what I mean? And just
Mhm.
leave it there. I'm not going to get into that thing, but you don't want
Yeah.
fluoride. There's all kinds of studies on why fluoride is not good for you. So you get the fluoride, but chlorine is in almost every single water supply.
How frightening. Well, then there's the PFASs and the PFOSs, the AKA forever chemicals for those who may not be familiar with them. That was another one that just kind of came across my radar, and it seems to be more prevalent. And every time you turn on the news, it seems like you're seeing these forever chemicals in a lot of the water supplies. Have you done some background research on those or looked
Well, I
into
think
that as
most people
well?
know you just can't get rid of them.
Yeah.
I think I mentioned to you, I think you had trouble finding it, but there's a website like Find a Spring or something like that.
Mhm.
So here in Worcester, we have a whole bank of them. We have it from, we have a local place. In fact, it's called, yep, it's Polar, and they
Mhm.
make drinks and stuff. But you can go over there, and for 50 cents, you can get a gallon of spring water. And in fact, there's a big sign. It's right next to it. It says free of the forever chemicals.
Okay,
Said,
nice.
and but just to be, because I'm crazy, just to be doubly
Mhm.
safe, I did send it out. I did send it out to have it checked, and it said that, and I did have it checked out to see how much deuterium, heavy
Okay.
waters in there, and it was in reasonable ranges, so it wasn't that. So again, if since you're drinking it, you can also send it out, for minimal cost to some place and have it checked. But I mean, I wouldn't even bother with your tap water because there's chlorine in there. Why would you even bother? You don't want to drink it anyway. So
Right.
you can find a spring. There's a website you can go to, and a lot of times you can just go there and just fill up your containers with it and things like that. And the other thing is, because it's from a spring, is
Hmm.
there's is it's probably a lot more of that exclusion zone or structured water inside of there,
Okay.
with that. And what I used to do, Kristen, I got a little garage outside my house, with a slopey roof. I used
Mhm.
to fill all the water in my glass bottles. I don't put it in plastic. You don't like to
Okay.
leach plastic. So I
Uh-huh.
put it plastic and I'll put it up there and I'll let the sun shine into it. Okay. And that way it changed into structured water because it's near infrared light. So you can, in fact, what I'll do, I've got a little sunroom and the sun shines in there, and I'll expose all of my water from the spring in the glass water bottles to the sun, and
Hmm.
again it puts it into structured water. So I'm kind of free. It's ramping up. The
Yeah.
sun hits it and does. Is that something else? That's something else you can do. You want to get, and again, instead of forcing your body to make the structured water, make the structured water ahead of time. It's similar to, again, I worked in toxicology. Similar to toxicology, either you take the toxins before you take it in, or make your body detoxify. Don't make
Yeah.
your body detoxify before it comes in. Why put toxins into your body? I don't want any
Right.
toxins in my body. I don't
Right.
want to be taking a lot of tuna fish, which has
Hmm.
mercury in it, and make my body detoxify it.
Have to
I'd
do it.
rather eat salmon that doesn't have the mercury in it.
Yes.
So again, you don't want to put a lot of extra burden on your body. You want to keep your body as, in the Bible, your body's a temple, right? Right.
It is. It is. And it's so interesting because as you were talking, what was really coming to mind is so if we've got these bodies who are completely confused by all of the different intakes that are happening, right? And your systems aren't functioning optimally. What the least we could do is try to minimize what else we're giving the body to have to process and do. So, and I'm just envisioning your house and these bottles everywhere and the sun coming in. And I'm like, it must look like a science lab.
In fact, that's what my wife said. She calls me the mad scientist. I'm mixing all these things together. But I'm going to jump back to your other point. I was
Yes.
actually interviewed on a show today, this
Mhm.
morning,
Mhm.
and he was talking about sickness and stuff. So there's two schools of thought on why people get sick. One of them is called germ theory, but germ theory also means viruses.
Mhm.
Obviously we're exposed. Other one is called terrain theory, and terrain theory means basically how strong is your body. So we must know
Mm,
people that come down with a cold every year. Other people never get sick. We're
right.
exposed to the same thing. Our body is basically a petri dish. We have bacteria on us. We have fungal on us. We have all this stuff over there. But why don't we get sick?
Yeah.
because we have a strong immune system. I forgot that this woman, she's a doctor out of England, and she wrote a book specifically. She called it terrain theory,
Hmm.
because back, with Louis Pasteur, with the whole thing he thought all diseases caused by microbes,
Hmm.
and but we're all exposed to microbes all the time. So the stronger your body is, the more you can resist. The more you can resist, that when you get exposed to these different things, you can resist it. But if your body is fighting, right? If your body is fighting, like you're taking statins and you don't make enough energy, and you're getting toxins in your body, you're having chlorine, it's messing up your gut.
Right.
You're basically, your body's an ecosystem. Okay, your body is an
Hmm.
ecosystem. It's just like, Kristen, if you had a nice big fish tank with all your happy fish, but you never
Hmm.
clean it out, eventually
Yeah.
those fish are going to get sick. You know,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
or in Boston. Remember that remember that song? I love that dirty water by that. But anyway, it used to be the Charles River was so dirty nobody could swim in it, and
Mm.
they had one of the mayors at one time when they cleaned it up. He actually jumped into the water to show people it was clean.
Oh,
So it's the same thing with your body. You've got to keep your body. You got to keep your body as clean, as toxin free as you possibly can. Keep
yes.
your mitochondria working. And again, 99% every molecule of your body is water. 60, 70% of your body is water. It's so,
Hmm.
so important
Hmm.
in terms of what it is. So you don't want to be drinking the tap water. You can again, you can get, but again, the other thing, we talk about plastic. You don't want plastic in the water. Don't drink out of plastic water bottles.
Yes, I was going to go there with you next. I was going to ask you, what are your thoughts on bottled water and what are the health implications, long-term ingestion of that bottled water? So go ahead, let's go there.
When we talk, people know about plastics in the body right now. They know
Hmm.
about that. So obviously, if you go over there and you buy the bottled water, well, first of all, you have no idea how long that water was sitting in that plastic bottle.
Hmm.
You don't know the heat exposed to it. Was it sitting in a hot truck? The hotter it is, it goes into the water. So you're drinking the water, even though it could be from Poland or whatever in there.
Hmm.
You don't know how long that was sitting in the plastic, and how much plastic was leached into that water. So I never drink anything out of plastic ever.
Okay.
What I do when I go to the gym, I buy, and you can email me, philgeorge@charter.net. I get this off of Amazon. I go with glass bottles,
Hmm.
or you want to go with stainless steel bottles, one or the other. You don't want to be drinking out of plastic water bottles. It's funny. I saw a guy at the gym, smart guy, everything else. I says, you know what? You're drinking out of plastic. He says, I know it's plastic's bad. He hasn't changed, Kristen. Every
Yeah,
day I see him, every day he's drinking out of plastic water bottles.
right.
So, and they're finding out now we have plastic in terms of your carotid arteries. You have plastics in
Hmm.
there. It's like a crystal forming around the plastic. You have clotting in there. You don't want plastic. You don't want plastic in your body. So, uh, what you can do is keep it in glass as much as possible.
Hmm.
You should always drink out of glass or stainless steel. And the other thing, it's actually will save you money, because you're buying these plastic, water bottles. It costs you money. You get it from a spring, and you get it from there. Uh, the other thing you can do is next best thing. I see in supermarkets they have spring water in these giant jugs, 3 gallon
Hmm.
jugs.
Yep.
Granted, they're in plastic, but what I would do, again, you can email me, Phil George at Charter. That I get these big plastic glass bottles from Amazon. When I because I get the spring, it's too heavy to get a glass thing to pick it. I do put it in plastic to begin with. As soon as I get it home, Kristen, I pour it into the glass water bottle, so it's the minimal amount of exposure. I mean, there's
Okay.
only so much you can do. I mean, I'm not that.
Yeah.
There's only so much you can do. But if you minimize the exposure to plastic, the better off you are. Obviously, don't ever heat anything in a microwave. Don't use microwave ovens anyway, but don't heat anything in a microwave oven, because again, it's going to leach. It's going to leach. It's going to leach the plastic. The other thing is when you buy something. Okay, good example is everybody, most people know that coconut oil is good for you. Okay,
Hmm. Hmm.
but coconut oil comes in two things. It comes in either plastic or it comes in
My jar.
glass.
Hmm.
I always buy it in glass,
Okay.
because again, because with in terms of coconut oil, it will suck the plastic into it. So
Yeah.
you always have a choice. You want to get you want to either get plastic or glass. The other thing,
Okay.
if you're into the environment, with the plastic, they got to recycle it. And we
Mm-hmm.
get plastic islands in the ocean now full of plastic. It doesn't go down. So the glass, they can recycle the glass. So
Yeah.
environmentally, the glass. So anytime I buy anything, especially oils, because oils will suck it
Mm-hmm.
out of it. I always get everything in glass as much as I can, glass or stainless steel.
Okay.
Because again, you don't want to have to detox your body. So you
Mm-hmm.
want to put as few toxins, as few plastics into your body as possible, because your body reaches something called the tipping point, like like the fish in the tank. They can
Mm-hmm.
put up with so much toxins, but at a certain point in time, either the river, the stream, whatever, you reach a tipping point,
Yes.
and then what happens? In fact, we had in right here in Worcester, we had something called Indian Lake. Interesting story. So what happened is they were having an overgrowth of different types of plants in there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so what they did, they started spraying basically anti anti plant stuff in there,
Uh-huh.
and then people were swimming in there, Kristen, and the people were seeing dead fish coming up on there, and they said,
Yeah.
"What's going on?"
Yeah.
So they put these things that kill plants in there, like
Yes.
and so these are all things you have to be aware of. So these poor people are swimming in this stuff, and the
Mm-hmm.
fish are dying. So if the fish are dying, that's not a good sign.
And it's touching your skin. So, oh my
Oh
goodness.
yeah, and then they were
Wow.
having skin rashes, and so we had the person from the city say, "Oh, that's not a problem. That's not a problem," because they don't want to be sued.
Right. Right. Nope, absolutely. So that's a lot of information to take in for our listeners, but I want to share some of the important things you pointed out, watching and being careful of how much plastic we're using. If you're in those areas, though, where you're in a space where it's highly toxic water full of all kinds of craziness, a lot of the solutions oftentimes, at least even I've heard this recently myself, has been, we'll just get bottled water. And so it's all of the lesser of the evils that you were talking about. It's like if you're in that position where you can't afford the whole house water filtration system, if you're not in a space where you can do some of the things that somebody may be able to afford or do, because some of these things can be quite costly, trying to weigh out the better of the options that you have is really certainly to take into consideration. So I don't want our listeners to lose all hope if they're, over here thinking, oh my gosh, what's going on with my water? But doing little things like even putting the shower filtration systems on. There are some that are affordable and some that are more costly. Or, I know in my house I have the Berkey water filter, and I actually went ahead. You normally get the black filter that comes with it that kind of pulls all the majority of the junk out, right? But I went ahead and I actually, in the new area I'm in, I got the one that removes fluoride from the water too. So there's different ways, I think, to find affordable options available to try to clean up your water. And I know it a little bit further in, you're going to share a couple of other ones too. You've shared some tidbits already. All right, so I'm going to switch gears on you here. As I'm continuing my journey of understanding and learning more about water, there's a lot of different treatment options that the different plants are using. And one that seems to be one of the most, I don't know, used ones now or popular approach is to use reverse osmosis in the water systems. So, from a biochemist perspective, can you talk to us a little bit about what reverse osmosis is and what it's doing to our water?
Okay, so let's start with osmosis.
Yeah.
So your body, that this goes back to my days in the lab. So
Mhm.
we would do something called a test called osmolality, and what that would
Okay.
be is to figure out the different types inside your body. Obviously, we talked about water, 60-70%, but 99% is basically the molecules. So if you think about it, Kristen, I'm going to give you a thought experiment here. Explain what osmosis is. So let's say you have a 16-ounce glass, Kristen, okay?
Mhm.
And then you fill half of it with distilled water. Okay, it's
Mhm.
pure, nothing in it. And then you're going to get seawater. Okay, seawater, and the other 8 ounces you put it the seawater in the top. What's
Okay.
going to happen between the seawater and the still water? What's going to happen?
Thinking the seawater is going to go to the top. I don't know. I mean, all the
Okay,
salt is going to kind of go throughout the water.
that's it. It's going to
I'm running
equalize.
out of options, Phil.
It's going to equalize. So what
Okay.
happens is water wants to equalize. They
Mhm.
want they want to go to basically osmolality equal. It's going to equal out. It's going to equal out. So if you had salt at the bottom and water and pure water at the top, eventually it's all going to equal out. It's all going to equal
Makes
out.
sense.
So that's what osmosis is, or
Okay.
osmolality. Your body is going to equal out. It's going to keep the same amount in both hats for both
Hmm.
halves. So what reverse osmosis is, it uses energy, and it uses the energy to pull basically to push all the clean water with no particles in it to the other side. So it's pure water. There's
Okay.
no particles inside of it, but it takes energy to do that. So
Okay.
it goes against the natural gradient of water of equalizing itself.
Okay.
Okay, so it uses energy, okay, to
Hmm.
do it, and that's why it's the gold standard.
Okay.
But to go to your point, I also have I don't use it, but I also have a Berkey filter, and
Hmm.
it's a big one, so you
Hmm.
can stick it in there overnight, and you get plenty.
Yeah.
The other less expensive way you can do it, I bought basically. I also bought a device that makes that makes that basically it makes a different kind of water. What it does is it heats it up and basically takes everything out of it also. So
Okay.
there's another way of doing it. There's different ways, less expensive ways of doing it than having to do the reverse osmosis.
Mhm.
Other thing, if people want to do it, again, I would maybe go to the supermarket, buy the three, and granted it's in plastic, the 3 gallon, get yourself water bottles and pour it at home and put it up on the shelf and get some sunlight in there. And that's another way of doing it where you don't
Okay.
have to worry about it.
Hmm. Excellent. All right. So, you mentioned already some other treatment methods, so I was going to go there. What are some tips and some strategies you can offer when it comes to improving the quality of the water? I know we talked about several, but just for what we drink, what we cook with, what we bathe in, can you just give us a little, summary of some of the tips that you've already offered to us? And if there's others you want to add, have fun.
Okay, I think I forget to mention. I also bought basically a device that will distill the water.
Okay.
So instead of doing the Berkey, and that's distilled water, that's pure water. It's pretty
Hmm.
much the same thing as reverse osmosis.
Right.
In fact, you can email me, philgeorge@charter.net. It's sitting out. I don't use it anymore. But you just put it in there. And what
Mhm.
happens, we talked before, one form of water is steam, right?
Mhm.
So what it does is it heats it up, heats all the water. So all the minerals have to stay behind it, and it makes
Mhm.
pure water. And that's another way you can do it. So you can do the Berkey. You can buy a water distiller and do
Okay.
that too. That's another
Hmm.
way to do it. I used to basically do it overnight, just let it run. Next morning, I'd have pure water, and you can
Mm.
get that on Amazon. So there's lots of ways of doing this to clean your water. One word of caution: you can actually die from drinking too much water. Did you know that, Kristen?
You and I have had a few conversations, but I think that's a wow for our listeners. So talk
And
about that.
yeah, the reason for that is you need electrolytes. Remember,
Hmm.
we talked about the osmosis. You got to be,
Hmm.
but what happens is if you're drinking pure water, you need electrolytes. You need
Hmm.
sodium, potassium, magnesium. You need potassium to make your heart beat. But since the body's equalizing with this water, you're drinking pure water. You're not taking any electrolytes in. You deplete your electrolytes, right? Because it's equalizing. Your heart can't
Yeah.
beat anymore because of the potassium. So
Okay.
that's why it's dangerous for if you get your daughter or your son playing soccer out there and they're drinking pure water, they're getting through electrolytes like crazy. They're going to go into all kinds of cramps and stuff like that. So a little fun fact here, Kristen. So what happens is one of the best things to drink in terms of for us athletes, is coconut water.
Mm.
So this is something, there's something called isotonic, Kristen. Isotonic
Okay.
means it's the same exact mineral density as your body. So
Okay.
there's isotonic, there's hypertonic, where it's too many minerals, and there's
Hmm.
hypotonic, not enough minerals. Those
Okay.
are the three. So coconut water is isotonic, same exact electrolyte as your body. Perfect.
Hmm.
So during World War II, the GIs were stationed at an island, and they were cut off, and they had a lot of injuries. So they have to give, if you're bleeding out and they don't have blood to give you, they have to put in plasma, and they usually
Okay.
put that through an IV. They didn't have any plasma because they were cut off. They were able to infuse coconut water directly into the blood, Kristen. Coconut water, because it's the
Wow.
same isotonic, it's the same osmolality as your plasma.
Wow.
So, Kristen, if you're ever stuck on a desert island, you and Tom Hanks,
Yeah.
Wilson, you, Tom Hanks, and Wilson,
Yes.
and he's bleeding. Remember coconut water, Kristen.
Coconut water. It's the miracle. Wow. That is a huge fact. Oh my gosh. Wow. All right.
So,
Well,
if you're
there's
looking for
that.
something good to drink, and the whole thing, good example, Gatorade, good story, another story. So Gatorade. So you know how Gatorade came about?
Tell
Okay,
me.
so Gatorade. So okay, what are you, Florida now? You're thinking about Florida.
Mm.
What college basically has the mascot, the Gators?
I think it's FSU. I think it's
Yeah,
Florida State
yeah.
University. Yeah.
So they play football a lot of times in the heat,
Hmm.
obviously, and they got pads on, they're sweating.
Right.
So a
Right.
trainer there, and they would notice they were cramping up while they were playing.
Hmm.
So this particular trainer decided to come up with this electrolyte solution, and he put
Hmm.
it in there, and he gave it to them. They hated it. The taste was awful. Imagine eating just potassium. Yeah,
Yeah.
but they
Yeah.
did it because they wanted to do it. So we added some sugar. He did some magic there, and so this was their big advantage, Kristen, was they were able to do it. Able to do it. So he went to Florida State, and he offered them to buy the patent on it, and they refused
Oh,
them.
wow.
They didn't want to do it.
Wow.
So he kept on worked with the formula, and then I think it was PepsiCo is the one that actually bought it from him. Okay,
Hmm.
and then they made it into Gatorade. The trouble with Gatorade is they have a lot of red dye this, yellow dye this, and it's not good. So now I don't know what it is right now, but in fact, when on my radio show, I told that story, and I had Russ, my producer. I said, look it up, see what's in there. Yeah, it's red dye this, red dye that. They may have
Hmm.
taken it out. I don't know,
Hmm.
but it's not necessarily the best thing. Again, coconut water would be
Hmm.
better. None of the
Hmm.
dyes, but there's also a lot of sugar, and that's fine as long as you're an athlete. But you
Hmm.
don't be drinking Gatorade, all the sugar in there, because for obvious reasons. So that's what happened. Because and if you're an athlete or stuff like that, you want to make sure you're having enough electrolytes.
Hmm.
I take a very specific electrolyte pack. You can email me,
Okay.
Phil George. I put that into my thing, and I drink that when I go to the gym. It has
Okay.
all the correct amount. I don't do Gatorade. I
Hmm.
put it because there's no sugar in there. All it is basically is electrolytes, because
Right.
I want to be on a low carb thing.
Yes. Yeah, I love that you share that because that is one of the things too that comes up a lot in conversations about reverse osmosis when you're when you're kind of killing off the water, it becomes dead water. And then,
It's it,
what
it
are
is
you doing to remineralize it, right? And what are you doing to do the electrolytes? So I too have my little fancy approach to using a solution that I have that's trace minerals and then electrolytes. The other thing I found to be beneficial too is squeezing lemon in the water. It can kind
yeah.
of bring that water back to life. So a very practical thing that you can do to just if you're dealing with, dead
And
water.
Kristen, when you take that water from your reverse osmosis, put it in a glass,
Mhm.
stick it out in the sunlight. If you got any, get it so it's sun. Let it sit there in the morning, and then take it out, because then you're changing it into structured water.
Mm,
Or if you want to buy, I can send you the red light panel. Just put it on
yes.
top of there. So get the structure. It'll save your body from having to turn it into structured water to do it. So that's another biohack.
I love that. And something, I'm just going to kind of tie some things together here for our listeners. So, for example, you have a reverse osmosis treatment plant that's putting, all the things together in your water. It's now coming through your house, it's coming into your tap. Just because it's being treated with reverse osmosis, people still need to check because I have had that experience. Reverse osmosis, oh, yes, your water should be safe, but then you test it and it's full of chlorine and fluoride. So it may be treated one way, but still make sure for our listeners out there that you're getting that water tested because, they may be doing one good thing and then creating another problem in the process. So that's worth still considering and looking into. So even if
What they
it
may
says
be doing,
reverse,
Kristen,
yeah,
they may be doing the reverse osmosis, but adding the chlorine and the fluoride afterwards.
sure. That's
Plus, it has to
exactly.
run through all of those pipes getting to you.
Yes.
Who
Yes.
knows what's in those pipes? Because
Yes.
they have a certain obligation too to make sure there's no bacteria and stuff in that water. So they may
Mm-hmm.
be adding that stuff to protect themselves. So you're right. Even
Agreed.
though it's reverse osmosis, doesn't mean that it's necessarily clean.
Absolutely. Yes. All right. So we're going to just kind of wrap our conversation up with chatting a little bit. And just this is going to probably be more of a summary of things we've discussed. What can people do to support their health if they find that they live or are vacationing in an area that has known contaminants in the water? You gave us a lot. So let's summarize for our listeners.
Okay, so again, you get the bring water with you.
Hmm.
Put it in glass.
Hmm.
Bring it with you.
Hmm.
Again, we talked before. If you're going to go out to the grocery store, get it in glass. Just buy it in glass bottles. That's it. It may cost you a little bit more. But the other thing is, if you buy it in glass bottles, you can save those glass bottles and refill them later on.
Yes.
So you don't. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be wasted. But yeah, just take water with you, or the Berkey you talked about. That a lot of those are portable.
Hmm.
Berkey's
Yes.
portable, so you could take that with you. Even if you're camping, you can put the stream water in there. A lot of people do that. But
Hmm.
keep in mind how important water is. One thing we haven't talked about, which we talked about before, you and I,
Yeah.
is they're calling water now an electrical, basically an electric, a liquid
Conductor.
computer.
Hmm.
What happens is, about this, water actually holds intentions. So you probably heard what happens is, if you're growing plants and stuff like that, and you play nasty music to it, the plants don't grow as well. It's the
Right.
same with us. They've done studies where they've taken water and they put intention, love, peace,
Hmm.
harmony, and they've taken it out and looking at the crystals. The crystals are beautiful, but if they put hate, bad things into it, basically it's bad things. So again, it's the intention you put into the water. I know this sounds real woo-woo to people out there, but they've done studies on this. Water, what I did, Kristen, actually with my water, I would type on the outside of it, I would put in love, patience, and I would put it in there, and it would actually change the structure of the water. The
Oh.
water actually takes the intention into it, or play calming music into it, and things like that.
Hmm.
And they've actually done, I think you were the one that told me there's a whole book on that where they have
There is.
pictures. They have pictures of the water. They've actually done scientists. This is getting into the quantum biology, quantum
Yes.
physics. So
Yes.
I know it sounds crazy, guys, but what do you got to lose? So before you drink the water, maybe on the thing, type right in there, peace, love, patience, whatever you want on there. What do you got
Hmm.
to lose? It may be crazy, but you're not hurting you.
Oh, I agree. And the book for listeners who are interested in looking into it, it's called The Living Language of Water. And Veda Austin, she's out of New Zealand, is the author of that book. And she has a lot of research where she's showing, the crystals in water and the intention and the conversations. She also has been working with the folks on the telepathy tapes and working with the autists and conversations about water being a gateway to consciousness as well. So if you're interested in really going down the rabbit hole, that's a great place to look at as well. And then, Phil, I know you and I have talked about this separate from this conversation, but even in biofield tuning, using the tuning forks, we tune water. And so being able to use frequency to tune and use that vibration in water is another way to help with the structural process. So there's all kinds of different stuff that, we can do if we take the time to do the research. But I would like you to, before we wrap up, if you could share one message with our listeners about water, what would it be?
Drink, it's the most, it's actually 99%, 67, it's the most important thing in your body. I mean, it really, I can't overemphasize it. It's not that expensive to do. Kristen and I covered multiple things to do.
Right.
Buy the 3-gallon jug, put it in glass right afterwards. It's not that expensive. Get a Berkey filter. Make sure you put electrolytes in there. You can email me or Kristen, Phil George. I can let you know what I use. It's a little
Hmm.
pack. You just put it in there. Uh,
Yes.
uh, the water is so important. I guess the biggest thing I could take away: do not drink tap water. If you do nothing else, do not drink tap water because the chlorine, all the rest of the stuff in there. Don't drink tap water.
Ugh, whew. All right, Phil, please share with our listeners how they can get in touch with you. Once again, just give them that info. I always like to reshare at the end of the episode if they want to learn more about your services or anything else you've talked about in this episode. Where can they find you?
Right. Easiest way is email me, philgeorge@charter.net. And I'm on Dream Vision. If you just type in Wellness Wave Radio, I'm on YouTube. I'm pretty much everywhere: YouTube, podcast, everything else. And if anybody ever wants remotely, but wants to come on my show, like Kristen's been on a few times, I've been on her show a
Hmm.
few times.
Hmm.
You want to come on and share anything or promote anything, love to have you.
Yeah,
And we'll have a lot of fun.
I love it. Well, thank you, Phil, for joining us again. I know we'll have you back because there's always so much to cover. And for our listeners, thank you so much for taking time to listen to this episode of Surviving the Human Experience. And until next time, be well and stay blessed.